Hello, all. What I'm going to do today is give you an overview of construction materials. So when you walk on a job site or the build site, you understand what you're looking at, what you're picking up, and pretty much where it's going to fit into the entire project. You're going to find that these materials all have very specific names and they're kind of grouped into specific categories. Now, in order to understand all the materials and see what they look like, I really want you to reference the material boards that we have in the classroom. These are going to give you an understanding of what they look like, as well as their actual size. We're going to get into a little bit of a sizing piece today also. We're going to talk about how things are sized and how they're called out. But it's really important that we access the correct material for the correct location on our building. So the more you know about the materials, the better you're going to be equipped to start building a house. So let's get into it. First thing we have are 2x4s and 2x6s. Now, these are called dimensional lumber. The reason they call them dimensional lumber, it is solid wood. They are cut out of solid trees. You're going to have a lot more size material out there, but for now, you're mainly going to encounter 2x4s, 2x6s. There's going to be 2x8s, 2x10s, 2x12s later on, but again, we want to get familiar with the basics that we're going to be seeing. So let's start with our 2x4s. Our 2x4s are called 2x4s because that is referred to as the nominal size. It's not the actual size. If you actually put a tape measure like I have over here on an actual 2x4, it actually measures 3.5 inches by 1.5 inch when you stand it up on edge. 2x6 is of the similar fashion. They have a nominal size and they have the actual size. So the nominal size is going to be 2x6, but the actual size will be 5.5 by 1.5. So let's say you go out to Home Depot. You're going to go buy a 2x4. You're not going to ask them for a 3.5 by 1.5. Although if you did, they would know what you're talking about. But this is referred to as nominal size versus actual size. And this is called dimensional lumber. Dimensional lumber, once again, is solid lumber cut from trees. Now, the reason I emphasize that is we don't want to confuse it with what's called engineered lumber. You are going to see a lot of this on the site, on the house build. Engineered lumber is truly cuts, chips. They actually chip up wood, and with heat and glue, they compress it and they make very structural components. When I say very structural components, I'm talking about sheet goods as well as what looks to be like a dimensional piece of lumber, but it's not. These pieces here are going to be used for your rim board. And again, I want you to reference all the models and mock-ups I have around the classroom so you can understand exactly where a rim board's going to fit in. But engineered lumber plays a gigantic part in our buildings these days. We're getting to the point where the majority of our building is engineered lumber. Engineered lumber, basically, again, is going to be man-made lumber. It's going to be small trees. It's actually recycled lumber as well. Most job sites, what you have to do is take all your lumber scraps, put them in a recycle bin. They chip them up, heat them up, add all kinds of additives and glue and pressure, and actually they create these things called engineered lumber, which are going to be your sheet goods, which is going to be your OSB, oriented strand board. Again, reference all those boards that we have around the classroom. They're going to give you the actual components. It's not important at this point that we get into the actual dimensions you're going to see. These are going to be the sheet goods down here. These are going to be referenced in 4x8s, 4 feet by 8 foot sheet goods. And again, as we get into the build, we will get into the specific of the sizing and the location where these are going to go into our house. So these can be used as structural members. They can also be used as what we call just aesthetic members, such as things you're going to be walking on your flooring, certain countertops, things of that nature. So engineered lumber plays a gigantic part in our construction industry, and it is getting bigger and bigger out there. So that concludes our lesson on construction materials. Bye-bye.